Alright, hello. I am in the middle of debugging, which is not the best place to start, but I can still recap my stuff that I have here. Alright, the stream is working. So who's here? What's up? How's everyone doing? Um, where should I start? I'm gonna start by showing how it works, what it looks like. We've got some custom art for frames and buttons that I've been working with. And there's straightforward advanced Steam sessions options that are passing through. I can show you some intricacies with that. They're not actually doing anything, but they're passing through to the server browser to check, various server settings. So that's working. We've got a click to move system. We got a lot of print strings up here for debugging. And obviously we have the join session. Everybody don't forget to like and subscribe. La la la. So here's we got a little attack. There's a couple of bugs that I'm working out, but the general idea is the multiplayer click to move is working, as you can see here. That's using the player controller, using nav mesh. Just, there we go. So if I go up here, I follow, I can try to attack the player. And it's doing a little attack animation. A little ad hoc attack animation that I made up. I'm trying to run and chase. Let's see if I can go up here and then chase him up there. There we go. And some basic harvesting mechanics. It's not actually plugged into any nodes yet. That's my next step. I'm using gameplay ability systems, which is awesome, of course. Let's see. I'll show you the movement. That's probably the interesting stuff. So, I'm receiving a interface event to move there from my action. Let me show you my gameplay ability real quick. Essentially, I check to see if we're far away from a selected actor. I mean, I can start from the beginning. Would probably be the best place to go from the mouse. But essentially just showing it there's a fired node from there. And how it really works is you set your variables so that you can use them, of course. And the trick is using simple move to actor or simple move to location. And of course using a timer to control checking my own acceptance radius, essentially, and stop on overlap, simulating the features that are in the more advanced nodes. But this one is the only one that will actually work on a player controller, any kind of controller. So that's convenient, and it works in multiplayer. And I have the gameplay event for when completed movement. I have cancel movement, player move canceled, which will wait for move canceled here and cancel my general ability. So let's see where to start with. Maybe the mouse click. I'll run through some logic. So yeah, using the enhanced input actions, which are my new favorite best friend, I'm going to go to interface for main action to the controlled pawn. And so my interface is here. I have just a bunch of stuff in here for now. Um, it's annoying to have to set up an interface just to get the player equipment, for example. And that's the part where I just added it and it's broken, so that's annoying for multiplayer. But on the player character, I can use that passed through. Now another thing is I'm using a bunch of different graphs to cut down on that lag that you experience when you're editing. It's a huge difference. Just look for action. Event BPI action. Try activate ability by class. Basic action. So that's where my basic action, or putting a lot of my logic is. So when it activates, first checking if it's locally controlled, which is a C++ node. Never mind, I thought that was a custom. Got to commit it, and if failed to commit, end it. This is standard boilerplate stuff. Sorry, Virtual Studio is opening. Close it. Okay. I'm using just a pawn reference to get the controller, to cast a player controller, so that we can use just a player controller as a basic reference. But otherwise, this is an actor reference, so that we can use interfaces to get variables from it. This is where I'm currently experiencing the bug, which is this is returning invalid, my inventory item that I'm setting on begin play, and it's frustrating the hell out of me, so we're going to ignore that. But it was working when I was using a cast node. So basically I'm in here trying to replace a cast with an interface, and with replication, it's a little annoying. So for example, this is what I'm using now. Instead of just casting to... I was using a map as well, so maps can't replicate, so that's why I changed it from map to a structure. But instead of just doing cast item and get all of the variables from it, I'm using a get held item properties. And this does work on the server, of course. And so that's going to pass through the variables from the item through your BPI blueprint interface. Go back to here to the basic action. And so that's where I'm just saying, okay, as long as it's not, it doesn't have an action type, it has a tool type, a montage to play, and a montage play rate. And we'll use those later. And here we get the hit results. So this is why I need a player controller reference, so I can actually trace the hit results under cursor. And of course, if no hit results, cancelability. So you're not even hitting landscape or anything. There's no hit results. So we get the target location and target actor, and check against self using the get controlled pawn, whether it equals that. And so you'll see here my breaking things up by little modules like this. This makes it so much easier to be like, okay, I want this section to go earlier. You know, this is an example of where that might have happened. Just prune it, chop it out. All the references are self-contained. No wires going across the screen. You want to avoid that. So here, I'm checking the distance and getting the, this actor reference, the player controller reference, sorry, to get controlled pawn. I could probably replace that with both of these, controlled pawn, get acting player character instead. That would be simpler. I'll leave it there just in case I broke it for now. Do the same thing here. Acting player character, actor location. Just a little bit of extra on the side here. And we got target location from the mouse click, and if it's further than range, which is basically an instance editable variable on this ability. So we can make child abilities of this to modify that. Then essentially, if you're within range, proceed. If you're out of range, check if the actor implements the interface, so that if it doesn't, we're just going to move to the location. And if it does, we're going to move to the actor. I had a reason for that, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But essentially, it's like, yeah, okay, if you just clicked on a rock or something, or whatever, we're just going to move to the location. This is similar to like checking if the actor is valid, but it's more like, okay, is the actor something that we like care about for interaction and stuff? So either way, we're going to first see how there's this node coming off here. First, we're going to wait for the gameplay event, player move finished. So when it receives, we'll go that way. But also, like simultaneously, we're going to wait for move canceled. And when that's received, we're going to cancel ability as opposed to end ability. And now here I've got a little bit of just like game design micromanagement here that I just kind of added, so you can kind of ignore this. But like action type, if there's no action, just like, okay, finished moving successfully, and attempt to interact with the target. This is on move complete, right? So we're there, we can try to interact with it. If the action type, which comes from the item, so if there's no item, it just proceeds that way. Because this is default value is none, and it never gets changed. Then if it's an attack, we're going to check if the actor is valid. If it's not, there's no target for the attack. If it is, we'll proceed. But if it's a harvesting tool type instead of a weapon, then I'm going to check again. Is it actually none? Okay, let's try to interact with. Is it, then I'm going to have a longer list here for different types, and I might have to move this around a bit. But for now, I'm just breaking this down. Tool type for now, essentially just basing it off of some abstract game design types that can be used on nodes and types that can be used on landscape. So if it can be used on nodes, we'll get that target actor and we'll get the node tool type from it using another VPI, node tool type. And so just implementing that on item by doing function override get node tool type. And for now, oh no, not on the item. This would be a node. I haven't even, like I said, I haven't made the node blueprint, so that functionality is not in there yet. But that's why I can just do this, because it's going to call out to emptiness and just, you know what I mean? I don't have to have it set up yet. It's ambiguous. It's anonymous. Agnostic. That's the word. The ambiguous agnostic duo. So anyway, if proceeding, this is the juicy stuff here that a lot of people get no education on. It took me forever just to learn this basic concept. Is server is really nice because that's telling you whether the actor, so mouse over it, those tooltips, whether the world this object is in is the host or not. So not whether this is controlled by the server, not whether this is controlled by the local authority, which would be like the client in some cases. This is just, are we on the server or not, which is, to me, the purest form of which side are we on, server or client. So if client, then the first thing we're going to do is play the montage. So that's where you get your client side immediate thing. And then immediately we're going to send the server message to the attack with the required actor variable. So on the server event, which is reliable because it's gameplay, I'm going to pass that actor value through if valid. If not, pass through get held item variables. Oh, this is happening again here. I might be able to just kind of bypass where it's bugging out earlier and just do it on the server side. I might fix my bug. See, rubber ducky mode is really good for solving bugs. Sometimes you just don't realize what you're missing until you go through it all. So that's getting server side now. It's getting all of the variables to actually use. Yeah, I don't even know if there's really a need for get held item variables early on. I get the montage, the tool type, and the action type. Yeah. So it's relevant. I might have to do something like when you equip an item, it changes the variable on your character, so I can read that instead of reading it directly from the item. But the inventory is not a system that we have yet. Inventory is just not there yet. I'm just working on movement and interactions and stuff. So I was like, oh, let me go ahead and... So inventory is on my to-do list. And that's where the gap is, where... I mean, the thing is, it was working fully for servers and clients, and then as soon as today, I started working on this a couple hours before the stream, the client's weapon item type started coming through invalid. And so, that shows you how casting can be like an easy shortcut sometimes, but the truth is it's not good to keep building off that way. So I'm just trying to get it right here. Anyway, as I was saying, the server, as you see originally, if we're on the server, all that was the client. The client's going to do the animation and then pass the actor variable type forward, get the held item variables. Is server, I'm going to move that to get the held item variables first. And then it's also going to play the montage. And I might need like a is locally controlled here. Let me see. Because I'm not multicasting actually, so that's fine. Yeah, no, that's fine. Anyway, the montage itself has an anim notify on it. So for example, I made one by cutting apart anim set, and it has an anim notify here. Event tag, event player attack hit. So when it hits that point, slap. It's gonna send that action. So we're again going authority only, whereas back here we're doing local controller only. So again, this is where some of that data consistency I need to get straight. All right. Live debugging is what we're here for, right, guys? So now that we're server essentially authority only, it's really that's such an ambiguous word. Uh, we're gonna wait for the player attack hit notify that I just showed you. Once it's received, also we have right down here, if that player move cancels was received, it would cancel this whole ability, and so that's something I can send. For example, when you press movement input, and that would cancel all of this. And we've got our action type, and this is kind of where I left off with actually doing the harvesting, but I do have the dealing damage, and like I said, this was working on the client sides until I tried making it better. But essentially what we're going to do is assign tag set by color magnitude, which is your player attack hit, deal damage kind of stuff. This is basic gas implementation, nothing too fancy here. Add to the basic attribute set of health set by color. Like I'm literally not doing anything fancy here. This is just for getting it to work. And then apply that gameplay effect spec to target. So we're doing 5 damage because it's set by collar magnitude, set by collar, the magnitude type. So that's just setting it directly from here, not calculating off of strength or anything like that. I'm printing it out by getting the gameplay attribute value, so just finding out that target actor's health and printing it out, and then end the ability. So I wonder if I could, because what's stopping it is, I mean, it's still performing a lot of the actions, as you'll see. It's not like actually stopping when I do held item variables. It's going is not valid, and then passing through, and it's just not getting any of these on the client side. Oops. And I need them to determine action type and tool type. Let's take a look again real quick. Say what's up in chat, WR. I'm here. Sorry, I worked till 12:30 last night, bruh. Actual job? You at a restaurant or something? I also just bought Helldivers 2 yesterday. I'm so tempted to try it. Make a Helldivers 2 stratagem system that caused that wave dropping from the sky into the ground for a player to use as badass. Hell yeah. Movie theater. Ah, yeah. That's cool. I had a lot of friends working at the movie theater in this area. Let's see. I'm stuck here. I can get out of the way. So you see I click and then I move my input of the keyboard. It cancels the move and the ability. So it's ability ended, server and client. It doesn't try to attack. I click again. I'm within range. I don't have like a rotate to face target thing. And you see it's saying fail on action type equals none, no main hand item. But from the server, we're getting, oh, that's the self. 95, 90, 85, 80, 75. And if I go to the other guy, 90. So yeah, tracking health differently. But yeah, getting this value. You might just sit here and watch me debug unless I distract myself by showing you any other features here. Anything that you want to take a look at? See, I covered the move to click, some enhanced input action, nothing special, kind of just basics, some gameplay ability systems, basics. Mostly wanted to show how I work now, how much different it is compared to what you might be used to from this channel, just from my professional work over the years, working with others and adopting a style of work that's conducive to working with others, because I'm not just relying on myself. And generally keeping some of those practices to make working with myself as if I'm another person just a little bit easier. Um, but trying to do everything perfectly correctly makes a bit of a challenge. Because this was literally, so I had cast to here to get the third person character. Let's see, get held item variables as acting player character, actor object. It is server side it's coming through. I wonder if I just skip the valid check. Watch it just work. Like I'd like to normally just be like, okay, let's just go server side and calculate this, but I'm trying to make it be like on client side, immediate reaction, immediate result. So no back and forth, back and forth. And the fact of the matter is, it's probably just my placeholder inventory system is the issue, and it's not even something I should be debugging because that's just placeholder. I should just go ahead and make a proper inventory system for it to work. Yeah, and type equals none equals none. So the print strings help a lot, as you can see. How would you do a navigation for AI around the map because of it being top down? How do you keep the AI from clipping through terrain? Well, right now, as you can see, it's not doing anything if I click out here. Actually, okay, it's continuing to work. It's saying no hit result, no hit result. So this is just for the player-based movement, but for the AI, there really is none right now. But when the character, if I was play testing with the boss here, the boss man, Midnightxrush, and he was moving around the map, and I'd click to follow him, and as he moves and goes around a corner, my character would follow around that corner because I'm doing things on a timer to update the movement. So if I go there, the movement graph. See, that's why I'm using a timer. And so basically it's actually constantly refiring the simple move to actor to adjust instead of just going to the spot that they were last at. And for all I know, that would be fine without the timer. But this just allows me to control it based on my own kind of like logic here. This is honestly just like a habit I adopted from previous jobs where we were constantly checking because things could change. But we did some performance checks and it's really not a problem at all. Like I'd turn it off, turn it on, and compare, and it's just negligible compared to a lot of other things. Like in a MOBA, your character would move around objects on the map, such as walls or obstacles, like in League. Yeah, exactly. So that's how you pull it off. You use the simple move to actor or simple move to location. It's the simple node that is the only one that will work. Its target is controller object instead of AI controller object. So this, just for whatever reasons, is the only, well, the reason is that that's the only one they coded in C++ and exposed to Blueprint from the controller class itself. You could extend the controller class to your own custom controller that adds your own C++. Maybe you could copy paste some of it, but a lot of the AI movement logic is probably reliant on other variables and stuff in the AI controller. So this simple one, it's simple because it's broken out, doesn't have the other things on the AI controller or the player controller. So, but it will function on the player controller that way, and it will navigate around objects. So I might just get back to work, essentially trying to figure out how this works. Um, Not a big fan of debugging before a stream because I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get this to work. But because it's like two jobs at once. But yeah, I just wanted to show off some of this stuff and my MO, essentially my style these days. We got broken down by different graphs. I can show you the camera itself a little bit on one of my input actions. So for example, input action zoom camera. If the action value is less than 0, we're going to zoom the camera. For zooming in, if it's 0 or greater, we're going to zoom out. So it's got that zoom boolean, and using that to select the zoom distance, which is like how much per click we want to go, and add that to the current desired camera distance. We got a min and a max to clamp it to, and we're going to set that to the current desired camera. Now I also got a close-up camera that triggers if the min and camera distance, if this value is, if it hits the min camera distance. So if we zoom all the way in, then we're going to angle, we're going to f-interp the relative rotation of the camera boom so that it swoops down. Actually, I can show this real quick. It's kind of cool. And this is using orthographic camera. So as you see, whoosh. I know you like that, right? Well, so it's smooth. Also, you see it's like sliding. It's not clicking in and out, but it's in clicks. It's in stages. So that's why I have the like 200 each mouse wheel use, but it slides in between. So it's like staggered. And then as you see, it like f-interps separately from the scroll. Yeah, this is cool. We'll have to figure something out for invisibility. Oh, actually, it is clipping through. If I go all the way to this wall. Oh, no, there it goes. The camera clips through the wall here. So this is the isometric camera. It's very weird with... Look how glitchy it is out there. There's some things to work on here for my... Well, let me show you. We have a loop here to trigger next frame. This is not on tick. This is just fired, essentially. And so each time it's fired, believe I set this up to be like one time each. Well, basically, it's just catching up to itself. It's saying like if it's not there, continue going there. Yeah, if it equals that, then we can stop and not do anything. So otherwise, it's going to keep moving closer. So if you keep scrolling the mouse wheel, it kind of like speeds it up a bit. Check if there yet. So if the current camera distance is the target, if the target arm length is the current, then we're going to f-interp it from target to the desired at the camera zoom speed. We're going to set that to the target, and I'm doing this camera ortho distance multiplier. This is aesthetic. This is like just to get the look feel right. And essentially, if using the orthographic camera, that's that orthographic perspective, the isometric view that has the orthographic, the non-real perspective. There's no vanishing points, right? So it doesn't actually have like a field of view. It's like a straight square looking down. So it's like, okay, well, how wide of a field do you want to look? And so this sets the ortho width to that value of basically the target arm length times my aesthetic value. And again, trigger next frame, do it again if it doesn't match. So even if you only press the button once, it goes into a loop until it matches. So it's really just, I think, just the replication of this placeholder inventory. Like this is not an inventory system. This is my inventory. Placeholder spawn with item, put it in the struct. So, once I continue refactoring that, because the problem is I started refactoring it before the stream. Everything was fine and dandy beforehand. And then I essentially put myself into the position where I'm halfway through a refactor and going live. Like, what have I done? Should have waited until after the stream to do more work on it. But you've got, basically, I'll probably do an update here. I'll try to keep you guys updated with all my projects. I think that would be fun to show off all of the different work that I do. I like even my own little side projects that are just experimental and stuff. It's that Lost Ark feeling. I love Lost Ark combat and story. I just don't like the horrible meta and non-meta and pay-to-win mechanics. Well, yeah, there you go. That's like everybody, right? Every game out there. Been playing Final Fantasy VI because I keep hearing so many great things. I finally got myself to get over the action combat element. I'm like, okay, this is actually interesting. I don't need to be in totally passive chill mode all the time just to play a turn-based RPG. I actually got a bunch of turn-based RPGs from that Steam sale and just decided like, nah, these are all like okay. I should play the real good ones, the classics. So of course I do love one, but got a few people in here. Maybe is there anything anybody wants to see a little bit more? Um, basics, basics, basics. We'll show what happens when I change the harvesting type of this. Uh, Pickaxe. $16 is fantastic also. And 7 right. Yeah, I actually enjoyed 16 about halfway, 2/3 of the way through. I just fell off. like it did have some really good things going for it, but I feel like I enjoyed the first half and then it changed a lot in the aesthetic that I was enjoying. So I just see it says, well, let's do it on the server. Valin tool type does not match. So that's good because we don't have a node here to use it on, essentially. And if we change it to a shovel, I'll just go in as the server only. And we get does not implement interface. Does not implement interface. Harvesting on landscape. Harvesting. So yes, our shovel for digging into the ground. Oh, it's not completing itself. Oh yeah, I didn't have that plugged in there. Anyway, I should probably get back to work. Let me show you why that didn't finish. Harvesting. Let's get end ability for now. There we go. I just don't like it when they add crap like cars and motorcycles to a high fantasy game. Well, that's what I had to like be into. I had to be like, you know what? I want to play that steampunk RPG. So that's what got me into getting back into 6. Though it does mostly start, it starts with the steampunk and then like drops it for a while, which is also kind of cool. Until the past few years, I didn't realize the Final Fantasy theme is almost all like steampunk mixed with fantasy, and it's pretty cool. I kind of dig it. Alright, but I'll let you go, bro, and all my fans out there, and all my prospective employers. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this brief look into the workflow and getting things to work, and I'll do another update on this soon. Keep you all posted on this project. Good chatting with you, WR. Yeah, see you, dude. Peace.